さて一丁決めてくるか。楽しんでもらえたか。さて一丁決めてくるか。楽しんでもらえたか。さて一丁決めてくるか。楽しんでもらえたか。
It's a Wednesday afternoon, but I sure as shit wish it was a Friday night. That would be wonderful. Oh, fuck, that's what I forgot. I went shopping today. I meant to pick up more alcohol. I've cleared out all the alcohol in my home. I have none left. Nothing remains. So even if I want to just, you know, have a nice little glass or something in the evening, can't do it. Can't do it. Have to stick with tea. Ew. Gross. There we go. Okay, sorry, my mic. I just realized my mic was like 10% lower than it usually is. Okie dokie. Controller? You good, bro? Yeah, you good. Just needed a second to warm up there. Now, if I recall correctly, I strategically ended the last stream, and I forgot to record the VOD again. There we go. I strategically ended the last stream right as we went into trial. And honestly, I'm realizing that regardless of where I stop the game, I think there's always going to be a level of cluelessness. Unless I stop the game at the very end of a case, then I'm always going to be a little bit confused when I come back. That's just like inevitable. Ugh. It's funny as well. I thought there would be more to this game mechanically than there actually is. Because as far as how the game actually works, it's more of like a glorified visual novel more than anything. I know some people would probably bite off my fucking head for saying that, but it's true, isn't it? Don't you think? You have to get certain clues and you have to go into the court with the trial with the right evidence. You can't go into the trial without being as prepared as you need to be. So in that sense, it is a bit of a... It's a farce! It's not a real game!
The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lena Sky.
I'm gonna get my court fucking effects. Emma didn't come back.
Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Mr. Yeehaw Man. Witness, please state your name and occupation.
Once you're done fucking drowning your sorrows in booze. He drinks from that flask like it's a fucking jug of alcohol. There's not... flasks can't hold that much liquid.
Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know! You're a patrolman! As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the wind howling. The howling wind call it out.
He's so mysterious.
To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor.
Howling wind? Never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Wait, was he describing Edgeworth? I thought he was describing himself.
Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something.
Hold on. My nose is stuffy as usual. It's wonderful.
You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime, the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? The desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Your stupid shit is annoying. Get to the point. Stop speaking in riddles. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English.
Hello, my name is Jake.
My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style.
Yeah, 'cause fuck your job. It's not like you're getting paid for it or anything, right?
Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway.
It's your job. You're meant to do it.
If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down.
That's like a fucking security guard in a shop just going, ow, the shop's covered for insurance. Anybody steals anything, it's alright, they'll get it back. No.
I'm just an innocent traveling man. So if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. I'm not having this. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. Your wayward vagabond attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining.
Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems?
I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those.
Yes, well... Sorry, I'm burping. What about the fingerprint-activated locks on the evidence lockers?
Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those?
He's not being very helpful.
He's not that good with machines, or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. Full cavity search, please.
We can't believe a word he's saying, so that's the only alternative, really. Hold it. How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room?
I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. The room's so still. Even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker
Interred? When the turd goes back in.
who interred the recordings.
You interred that? Yeah, I don't know that word either.
Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I'd erase a tape, felt like I was erasing a part of my life.
This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't gonna do him any good. So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. Yep. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right?
Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style. I ain't one for doing my fucking job.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
No desperado I know lets rules get in his way.
No desperados I know join the police force.
So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime... Just between you and me, I didn't even set foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner. Can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks.
How does this guy avoid being fired? Literally does absolutely nothing. God, I'm really fucking thirsty, jeez. I don't want to down this tea because it's not the sort of drink that, you know, makes you feel hydrated. You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct?
Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence.
And yet you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism. Because it's probably new.
Sorry, partner. I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. It's fucking witchcraft.
That's quite incredible.
The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence.
Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. Oh, wait, so are the sensors like inside the handle rather than... I thought it was like the plate on the front, you know? There's like a square plate on the front. I thought that was like the fingerprint sensor.
At any rate, it doesn't seem like this is relevant to the crime.
But it is!
Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place?
Yep. Press.
What were you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Oh, cowboys love a bit of spaghetti. Not even Angel's steak lunches can beat the parlor's Von Gole sepia past.
Wanted him to say it as Americanly as possible.
Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson.
It's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says...
Did you not want to raise this here?
Hold it! I want to press on that. Why are you so reluctant to leave? Not reluctant, why are you so eager to leave? Out of ammo, Officer Marshall?
That's right, partner. As you'd call it, evidence. Evidence. You plan to pin me to this crime, then you'd better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. A steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, you're fucking terrible at your job. The witness doesn't appear to have seen anything.
Because he did it! Because he fucking did it!
Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that.
Apparently your superiors don't... Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I'd best keep my cool. Before I use it, though, I'd better up the ante. Right. Let's look through the evidence.
The evidence.
Can we look at his ID card? I'd like to look at his ID card. I want to know who 777777777 is. Wouldn't it be funny if I actually got the amount of numbers right on that? Extremely thin rubber glove. Extremely thin. Probably work as a good contraceptive, you know? Files for the Joe Dark killings. Oh, I didn't even fucking look at these. These are probably gonna be somewhat relevant, maybe? Joe Dark, serial murder, sentence, death. Victims Edward Jones, Jeb Bates, Neil Marshall. Neil Marshall! A relative, perhaps? There's no way they would throw someone in there with the same fucking last name and not have them be a relative. Not sure how that's relevant though, still.
They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day.
2 security systems.
If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down.
I'm just an innocent traveling man. Oh, fuck.
It's airtight! It's airtight!
So I'm taking a really big drink. I'm gonna have to piss like a fucking racehorse after this. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. And yet you didn't! You didn't! Objection! You're shit at your job! I said I was supposed to make it, but that ain't my style. He says, so is he saying that, He's saying he doesn't check on the room at all, right? Because they're saying he has to do it 3 times a day, but he's saying, oh, my style. If I could just look at his fucking ID badge, so I knew what his number was.
I could prove he was in there.
February 21st. $221 SL9.
Room's protected by 2 security systems anyway.
Right. Marshall's fingerprints found on a bloody handprint left in the evidence rooms. The prints have been wiped. You have no idea what's going on? Good, neither do I. Hello, Kyra. It's gotta be this, right? Because that's... Oh, fuck, no. That's the trump card. That's his trump card that he's talking about, but I have to press something else first. I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down. Do I bring up the handprint? I'm gonna see what happens. Okay, good. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called to testify like this. After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime.
And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner.
It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Dun dun dun. Hold on a minute. I'm gonna turn my fan on. Does not add too much background noise. I don't think it gets caught on my noise floor, so it should be alright.
Humph. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That is, make my rounds about once a month.
Once a month? Once a fucking... He's supposed to do it 3 times a day. He does it once a month. Ah, fuck it. That's good enough. That'll do.
It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there.
But bloody fingerprints?
I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood.
Ah! Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene?
The blood was wiped away, however. A luminal test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall.
I don't give a fuck. Seems to me that you lived your life like a candle in the wind. There ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders.
I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall. About the blood-stained fingerprints?
Very well, you may begin your testimony about the fingerprints. Found at the scene of the crime. At that.
Go, 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 go.
Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprint.
How very convenient.
The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The blood stain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated.
What a crock of shit.
Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves?
No. No, they weren't. Not in the video.
See, I had nothing to do with it. It's bullshit. The witness's explanation appears valid.
No, it doesn't. Judge, can you grow a fucking brain for once? You just, like, agree with the last thing that's said in court. He's like,
Well, that's reasonable. Oh, I guess he has a point, too. Well, I believe everyone. I don't know what to do.
I did. I figured out the paper smack. I did what I said before, like... So the problem with it was... It was like the GIF was like okay, so the way it works, right, is you have the frames play out as they do at the same consistent speed, and then you have one frame at the end that plays for about 3 seconds, so there's a delay before it starts again. But what was happening, it was taking that delay on the frame before the last one, which was not the right hand frame. So I had to insert another frame of the last frame before the last frame. Very convoluted, but it works now at the very least. For some reason, OBS just didn't work very well. I don't know why.
Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner.
He's got a point.
The defense may cross-examine the witness.
This guy's hiding something. I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. Man, I would love to get my nose fucking fixed. So I can, like, breathe correctly through both nostrils. That would just be a pleasure. That would be beauty. Beautiful.
Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in the evidence room.
That's because you... How do you put it? Pay your respects once a month?
Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said.
When are we gonna get to the rag? The rag that I noticed like a day ago. The unusually placed rag that suddenly appeared after the murder. One nostril Juan? Yeah, that's me.
That's a locker I used when I was a detective. A locker I still use.
You know, it probably helped me, like, sleep better as well. Ugh.
All that's in there now is a heap of broken dreams.
I see.
It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker.
Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without even knowing it.
One of them just happened to be in the same place as the blood-stained handprint. It's a freaky coincidence, really.
So then, what about the bloody handprint?
Wasn't mine. It's no mystery. Please explain. My locker was covered with my fingerprints. Just so happened. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. 1 in a million, really.
Yeah. How does this keep happening? He just keeps saying the exact fucking thing I'm about to say. The chances of that happening are 1 in a million. 1,000,000 to 1. Close enough.
On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with
You ain't gonna get no reward for me with a mere fingerprint. Oh. That was some sort of bounty reference, I guess.
You wanna know why? Bloodstain and the fingerprints are completely unrelated.
Prove it. Unrelated?
They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's...
Nobody understood that because they couldn't see the spelling difference. That's only really a sentence that works when it's spelled out in subtitles.
One's got to do with breakfast, while the other's a type of murder. So yes, they're both cereal. There are many different types of cereal, Mr. Marshall. He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different.
Judge, I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. Absolutely nothing. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. The murderer was wearing gloves. How do you know that?
I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I kept up on the reports. There was a blood stain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer.
That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker.
However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint.
Oh yeah, I think we tried that too.
So that would mean... the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner?
The picture?
This seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards.
What?
There's only one reality, and that's this.
The security tape.
So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise.
Well, let's have a look at them hands. Let's peep those hands.
This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall.
Pretty sure that was the end, wasn't it? No? Okay.
Too bad it wasn't me in the video, right, partner?
What do you mean by that?
You wanna tie me to this crime? Isn't that right, partner?
Water mixed with opium? Is that a well-known mix? Is that a well-known cocktail?
If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have.
I object!
But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots.
Blind spots? Oh, like my cataracts. You should have just said.
Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. He could have crawled. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape.
We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was president. He was the president. If you can prove that he was the president of the United States, speak up, Sonny.
Yes, I can fucking prove it. I can fucking prove it because he fucking opened his fucking locker. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall.
Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Now then, let's have another look at the video. I love when we get to watch a video in court. It's like those days in school where they bring in the educational videos. Don't have to do fucking anything.
Right, fast. There we go. This really is very Friday. I almost said Friday Night at Freddy's again. This really is fucking like Five Nights at Freddy's-esque. With the fucking animatronic boy moving around. Bum, 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 bum. My time to shine, baby. It's that. It's that. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall.
What? Your days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less?
Friday Night at Freddy's. Ah! Yeah, I'd love to do a Friday Night at Freddy's playthrough. Friday Night at Freddy's. It sounds like such a it sounds like a much more jolly game. Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video.
Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner.
The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. I want to see his fucking stressed face when he sees what we're getting at.
That locker with the cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe.
Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Very, very slowly. Yeah, take your time. We're not in a rush or anything. This is a fucking murder trial.
And now it's gone! Oh! The white cloth, it's gone! What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall?
When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then, it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. This is just one single night. Yeah, you have a sleepover at your buddy Freddy's house. Friday Night at Freddy's, you know? That'd be a great game. I'm just thinking of that, like, conceptually as a game now. Dude, can you imagine that? That would be... I don't know how it would work in practice, but can you imagine a game where you have to, like, fucking... You have to, like, sneak downstairs during a sleepover, and you gotta like, you gotta do things like peek in on your parents watching TV, like a big boy movie. You gotta peek in through the door, see what they're watching, or get like fucking junk food, shit like that.
Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man.
No. Ah, I just thought of a way better concept. Okay, you do the old asymmetrical fucking co-op game, where it's like, it's almost similar to like Dead by Daylight, but instead of killers and survivors, you have the babysitter and you have the kids. And the kids have to like roam around the house and get like fucking junk food and shit. And if you're the killer, you have to pick them up by like the back of their t-shirt and like throw them back into bed. Someone write this down. This is a good idea. I would play the shit out of that. That would be fucking great.
Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man.
The novelty of just like running around like a normal suburban home. Obviously, you'd have to take liberties. You'd probably have to add quite a few more corridors and rooms that connect to one another to make more coherent maps, but I think it would be fun. You can like hide in cupboards and things, like under the sink. Or like under the dining room table, or in the fridge maybe. Kid just fucking climbs in the fridge.
And what if my locker was opened? That don't mean I'm the one who opened it.
Yeah, it does. Kind of does. We've already established that.
The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened a locker and stuck it in. Now my fault he happened to choose mine. He's right! Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? 'Cause you just fucked up, buddy. This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know.
You fucked up, pal.
I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah, I call your bluff. You see, I opened that locker. You say I opened that locker. Now prove it.
Because of the fingerprints. The sensor. The doi.
Fingerprint sensor.
I thought we already... Did we not already establish this?
We talked about this earlier today. The locker can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the lock...
No, wrong voice.
In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, Marshal, what do you have to say in 8 words or less?
You biting some fucking jerky?
I only got 1 word for you, partner.
No!
Order. Witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard.
The toughest jerky in Texas.
I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Olay, please answer the...
Why did he say olay?
Olay. Please answer the question.
What is he now, a bullfighter?
That's all right, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure out the rest from here. We can? As fucking news to me.
Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall.
If that's so, then where was the witness?
It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion.
He was the killer. Well then, let's hear it. Where was he? Point it out like Dora.
Who's the killer? Officer Marshall was standing right here.
Right here.
So Officer Meekins didn't notice him standing there. That's almost as credible as Meekins' rap theory.
Wait, what? What? What are you... What? What? That means the only place... What? He would have been outside the room. What? What? I thought we're saying that he's the killer, right? He would have been outside the room, right? I'm very confused. Oh, because they're calling Meekins the killer. Right. All right. Sorry. I'm supposed to be the victim. Sorry. The victim, not the killer. My bad. Officer Marshall was standing right here.
There? But that's...
Yeah, it was a little confusing.
That's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was, even though he wasn't the victim, because Officer Meekins was the one left in the room. And he was the one who was injured.
Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at this crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. He never saw the man's face because he's an awkward piece of shit. May I point out, though, Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. You've yeed your last ha. Oh, fuck. Also going back to Meekins. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. Yes? And how did Detective Goodman respond? Fuck.
He suddenly pulled a knife on me!
Glad that was short. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it?
Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room. So he must have been carrying it.
The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. Gasp. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on the ID card. All I see is a gray square. Sorry, Phoenix.
Oh, I get it. It's like some sort of visual identifier.
If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized that man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall?
You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence.
Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it.
You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. You must have fucking done it! I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't hear me complaining.
Well, you've brought it up twice now, so technically you are complaining, I must say.
Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt?
Let me just save real quick. Save shite kudasai. Okay. Do I?
That Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim?
Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. Yeah, if I had something like that, the trial would have been over immediately. I was gonna say, that'd be a little too easy, probably. I
can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat.
Ugh, this can't be happening. It's so obvious he was the one. I mean, he's so cute. What can I do?
Humph. It looks like your lack of evidence has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics.
The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me.
Phoenix, try thinking outside of the box.
I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in the disguise. But rather I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise.
Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it may be discovered later as it has been.
Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker.
According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that. That he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth?
I don't know. Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. Or we could go to the courtroom, the evidence room, and actually get the cloth.
Very well. Let's take yet another look at the security tape. Again. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open the locker.
It's a cloth. Is the thing. It's not a glove. We know that. I'm watching.
Glove.
I'm hoping to see a not a glove, cloth somewhere here.
Oh, here I go committing a crime again. Ah! Ah!
How do I go frame? There we go.
No, don't shoot. Ah.
Right. I am none the wiser. Is it? Does the key thing like flash when we go past it, or is that just my imagination? I think it's just flickering a little bit. There has to be something. Coomrag, perhaps? Did he like touch Officer Meekins or something? I don't know what's happening, but people are fucking screaming and shit downstairs. What happened to his baton? Did he just fucking drop it? It's the scene of a murder. La 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 la. Well, a potential murder. Oh, he did drop it. Okay. I try it constantly. Hurts my fucking throat, man. Does anyone have any ideas? Is what I always ask. Because I'm too incompetent to figure it out myself. Okay, this is an idea, right? He's not wearing. Is he wearing gloves? I can't tell if he's wearing gloves. It looks like normal handprints to me. My theory would be that he did it to wipe off the handprints from the fingerprints from the locker. But that's just completely... I have no... What are we trying to prove again? I've forgotten. We're trying to prove why he had to put something in his locker, right? Why he had to use a rag and put it in his locker. The only thing I can think of is would be his fingerprints. Right? It's gonna be wrong. It's gonna be wrong. Yeah, it's wrong.
Alright, partner. You really want to know the
Oh, really? Oh, no, okay. No, he's gonna bullshit me. Why?
So I could stuff you in there.
Huh?
I'm sure the world would be a better place with you sent off to the boneyard. Unfortunately, unsolved case can't be stored in the evidence room.
God damn. Can I do the old reload real quick? I don't think I missed much. Yeah, we'll just skip all this shit and then we'll save again so we don't have to... If we get it wrong again, we don't have to, sit through all of this fucking... garbage. セーブしてください. Dressed up as detective at the time of the crime, then after the crime was committed. He opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps... It's not the rubber glove. I know it's not it can't be the rubber glove because we have the rubber glove in evidence. Unless it's the other rubber glove. But it doesn't look like a glove. They're calling it a white cloth. I don't have anything cloth-like. Do we? I don't know. That's not relevant. Wait, did he use Edgeworth's knife? Or did he use the switchblade knife? Did you ask about the handprint on the mascot's face? No. It was already there. See, it was there from the very beginning, so I don't think it's relevant. I think that's just an artifact of fucking Gumshoe's poor craftsmanship. The jacket is white cloth. It isn't though, it's like a trench coat, and the trench coat shows up in the parking lot, so... He stuffed the jacket. Maybe he did. Maybe it is the jacket. Or do I just point to the jacket? Go, the jacket. Oh. I want to look at this knife. It looks like Edgeworth's knife. Doesn't it? It definitely looks like that knife more than it does this. Oh no, maybe it does look like that one. Never mind. So what are we saying? Are we saying jacket? It says jacket. That's the only possible thing it could be. There's no other white cloth in this fucking room. How do I select the... Do I do it when he's walking past, maybe? I can't just go, dash, dash. Can I do that? Will it count? Will it detect that? No, it will not detect that? Maybe when he walks past? Blah, 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 blah. Oh no, I want to save again, just... Save again. Save again right before we start. There we go. See, we're not trying to identify the white cloth. We're trying to... He's asking why did he open his locker?
After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker.
This fucking music. Ah. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. There's no blood on his coat though, when you see it. Oh, maybe there is actually, wait. Have a look. Ah, there's, alright, let's try that. There was a fade to black, yeah, okay. That's definitely the right answer. For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room. Though I don't know to what end, yet.
Yet?
However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood.
Soiled it! Soiled it!
A bloody white coat.
No, Judge, no need for that language.
What's a bloody white coat?
You couldn't just walk out like that. So you hid the coat in your locker.
Not bad, partner.
Soil it! Soil it! Soil it!
Now then, Officer Marshall. Are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, you were only half as persistent then as you were today. We all wouldn't have to be here now, would we?
Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it.
All right. Seems the time has come.
Confess, confess, confess.
I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15.
It was a farce.
So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then
how? Cause Meekins cut his hand. Did you not see the fucking video of the blood splatter?
Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. I guess he's the donor.
It was way too much blood for such a small donation. That was quite a lot of blood on his fucking jacket, though, to begin with.
I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die.
Couldn't let what die? When you say it, you mean...
You even have to ask, partner.
The SL9 incident.
2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it.
Their voices are so similar.
That incident's not over.
But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room?
But a case is closed. Only the case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine.
But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? Because his brother or relative was involved. I saw the name.
That day was my last chance. That's why I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence.
Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman?
If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere.
So you did it to fool the security camera.
And the detective's ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident.
So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report.
I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot.
How is that returning it? That's not exactly what... The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight.
What do you mean, partner?
I mean the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could because of the rubber glove that just so happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall.
I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out.
It looks like you went to murder him. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off?
Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on getting in the evidence room for no more than 5 seconds. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins! Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID.
I'll have to think a little more about this raise this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? You said he says that all the time. To be honest, though, I saw Meekins in 3D run. Yeah, he's quite terrifying.
Anyway, he threw himself at me, and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way. It's me knocking him out and everything.
By the way, what happened to your knife?
Oh, you mean this one?
I don't know what to say.
A murder weapon, stupid!
Or that supposed murder weapon.
So you knocked Officer Meekins out, and... managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on camera.
How did you know that? So you did your research beforehand.
Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. Security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left behind.
However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins.
If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there.
What was Officer Meekins doing during that time?
What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is, on that day...
Seamless transition.
There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15.
But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place.
What are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker? Actually, no I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor.
Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing?
Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Fifth Amendment right and all that.
Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID? Injuring a police officer? This is no small offense.
Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary.
Not the salary cuts are even a valid solution.
Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why?
Tell me. But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yes. That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room.
Joe Dock was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence.
I remember the Joe Dock case like it was yesterday. Happy days. It involved serial murderers, didn't it?
Murders, not murderers, sorry.
I don't intend to complain about how it turned out. There's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out.
Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I better take another look at the files. No need. I already did it and I already figured it out. Blah 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 blah. Blah blah. Oh wait, can I? Yeah, there we go. You know why? I know exactly why, buddy. This is why.
Files! Paperwork!
Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident.
Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner.
I have the SL9 incident files here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. Yeah, what? Is that really that much of a surprise to you? In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man?
Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard of the name. 2 years ago.
What? I didn't get a good look at that picture.
He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor?
He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did.
That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you?
Brothers.
Ah, he was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, and the then Deputy Chief of Police.
Ah, I told you he was important. See the man in the bottom left? Obscured by the text box? That's him.
The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer.
Is that the killer?
Joe Dark. Joe Dirt. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That's all we needed.
Oh, he's taking his hat off. In respect.
He was arraigned and He was arraigned and incinerated. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least, according to the public records.
He should have been incinerated, in my opinion.
What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight.
And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions?
There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. I'm hungry. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime.
That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's gotta be more than just that.
So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one.
Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lena Skye. I fucked myself, haven't I? But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial! Fuck off, right? Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But... there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remains the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department.
Seems to me, this boy's got the draw on you, partner.
All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved. No doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lena Skye. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Starr is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. Objection. Objection. Objection! Ah! I rest my case. What is this? What is this? What is this? He was murdered and then set on fire while celebrating his birthday. Unfortunate turn of events.
It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I don't need to waste my time disapproving the alleged murder at the police department.
There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lena guilty.
Now then, the time for the verdict has come. And so have I. This court finds the defendant.
Wait. Yeah. Always. Every single time.
Your Honor!
Wow, she finally shows up. She hasn't said a single thing for the past fucking hour and a half.
Wait!
Emma!
The defense has an objection, a scientific objection. Right?
What do you mean, right?
Mr. Wright? Are you this girl's guardian?
Your Honor? Oh, in a sense.
Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking for is a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please.
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3.
How generous. Maybe he is crush-worthy.
I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dart killings.
Now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky Sisters were in that file.
But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing, the other handprint.
You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again.
So, did you find something?
No.
Huh?
Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all.
You've wasted all of our time. Get out of here. Is that all?
Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student.
Why did you object then? You had nothing to say. I'm just an attorney.
But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lena, it's you.
Me? Oh boy.
Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regards to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark.
Hey, welcome, Natus. How's it going, my dude?
Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this?
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lena will be...
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Tick-tock.
Yes, Your Honor. If I've ever needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? I know exactly what's wrong with it. I know exactly what's... I figured it out with all on my own with my big brain. The blue badger was in the way of it. It was in the way at the time of the crime. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. I was wondering why we had the blue badger in our evidence this whole time. Why the fuck is that in evidence?
The only thing that seems clear is you're grasping, Mr. Wright. Grasping at my long, copiously large cock and balls. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them?
Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing.
Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there?
Yes. Yes, something that when drawn will completely change the meaning of the blood marks.
I don't believe it. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright.
With all this evidence here, there's gotta be something I can use. Well, you talk as if you already know, so surely.
The question is, which item can prove something is missing on the floor plans?
This boy right here.
What about that piece of plywood?
The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof.
Explain yourself, Mr. Wright.
Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here.
So?
So watch what happens when we put him in.
He's in the way.
This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well,
what?
God, he is a fucking idiot, isn't he? That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker.
What? Ah! So that means... Exactly what does that mean?
It means it can't be done.
What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker.
Don't look at me, I didn't put it there.
Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically.
Emma.
On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right?
When he woke up and he moved the Blue Badger, it was fucking Meekins who fucking put his blood stain on it.
After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker.
So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in. Oh, no, okay, I guess I was wrong.
Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. I have to
Rabba. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time. 3D Meekins is so disturbing. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. What? Really? That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. I object to your objection. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, That does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur?
To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room.
That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves this.
Very well, then tell us. When did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented.
Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that.
Now then, will the defense please present its evidence, which shows when the first crime took place?
It has to be this, right? The 4:20. It happened at 4:20, Your Honor. Right, okay, I'm just thinking this through, right? So, if it happened round the corner, and, Edgeworth didn't have to go round the corner when he went inside, I'm not sure whose locker he went to. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required.
An ID card? Oh, the ID card record!
That's the guest. I'm going to assume that's the guest pass that Emma has. That's why we were never given it. That's the only reason why she was the only one who was allowed to hold on to it. Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at... Let's see
here. 4:50 p.m. The crime took place before that time. Then it would be 4:40 p.m. Ah! Ah! Miles Edgeworth! Just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy.
Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure it out. It couldn't have been me.
Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either.
It's clear from the luminal test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. I don't know, you look like a strong man. You look like you could lug a corpse out of a room in under 2 minutes.
That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room.
Let's look at the chart again. Now they're only just now noticing the 777.
Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room?
Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 777777.
Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 77777777.
That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present. What?
Explain yourself, son. The ID number 7777777.
I counted that time.
Belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher.
Oh, it's Chief Police Gaunt. What a Gaunt. What a cunt.
We don't have the authority to inquire into such a Persian's identity.
But that's ridiculous. I know a lot of Persian people. Just how?
I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted.
An official charge?
You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates.
I object.
I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall.
It's gotta be Gaunt. He's the only fucking... Unless it's like the... Unless it's like the bald guy who only ever shows up in like the background of the police office.
I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask you a question. Yes? Oh, not to you. To her. The defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive.
Lena?
Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked up her ID number. And it's not 7777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing. About that incident. The SL9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence?
He's Mr. Clean. He didn't look very much like Mr. Clean.
Do you need the witness to repeat this question, Chief Prosecutor?
I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth.
2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time...
Occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. Sorry, struggled there. At least, I did.
Lena!
I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't.
I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
Why won't you answer him?
Drastic crime requires drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved.
But Lena! Lena!
Even if it involved forging evidence.
When the law don't go your way, you gotta bend the law. See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No! Order! 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 Lena's remark caused such a stare.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not gonna read this.
I'd have to wait until the following day. To be
Oh, what beautiful cliffhanger.
Bum ba bum 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 ba bum.
February 24th, 3:12 p.m. Wright and Co. Law Offices.
So I can turn off the court echo now.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said.
My fucking voice.
Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved.
I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dart killings.
Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me.
Lena wanted Dart convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me.
What do you mean, what happened to you?
It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence.
But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma?
On the night prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me.
What? He tried to kill you?
Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was the only one to save me.
He was only trying to save me.
So that means you.
Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial.
I didn't see that one coming.
Tell me everything you know.
It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. It was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for that season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. And suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office.
Joe Dark.
It seems like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me.
My voice is slowly dying. Don't know if you can hear it.
I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up.
It's hard to do a voice when it's sad. Jake Marshall's brother.
Joe Dark tried to take me hostage. But before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then,
What happened?
I'll never forget it. Lightning struck, and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant.
I'm dying.
What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now.
A permanent picture? See, I could use a voice changer and it would be easier on my throat, but it would be like substantially more effort for me to have to reach over every single time, turn up
the peach thing and do it like this.
because I would have to turn it back down to normal every time I use the echo effect. Because there's not like a separate button to activate it. So it would be much more inconvenient more than anything.
I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall.
So you weren't able to testify about that?
No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime.
Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence?
The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so bad. Christmas, Christmas.
What are the lyrics to that song? I can't fucking remember. Christmas, Christmas time of year. We've been good. Merry Christmas, hurry past. Something like, I don't fucking know. Edgeworth?
Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known. He was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault.
Time for joy and time for cheer. Such an annoying song.
If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have ever happened.
So it's true, even though he may not have known it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence.
After that case ended, Lena was never the same. She became cold, like she is today.
She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. What did you see in the instant the crime occurred?
Dart knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife.
Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl.
I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out.
Oh, look at her.
When I came to, Lena was cradling me in her arms.
Poor Emma. You've been through so much.
Poor baby girl.
I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out.
You know what would help is if there were other people in the courtroom with you. Probably not the best time to do your testimony when everybody's out for like recess.
I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good.
2 years ago. You must have been 14. That's understandable.
Yes, that is how time works, Phoenix. She's 16 now, so 2 years ago she would have been 14. Good, very good, very good.
Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies. And find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lena would never have to forge any.
I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. There's still something that bothers me about that crime. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma.
What is it?
You said you were in Lena's office at that time, right?
That's right.
Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor?
Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day.
Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police?
Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office.
But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office?
That's because the detective's office and the questioning rooms are right across from the elevator.
Why is that dialogue so fast? Jesus. Now it's back to being slow again.
Across from the elevator? But Lena was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she?
No, silly, didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lena was a detective. She was the best in the entire force.
What? That's news to me.
After the Joe Dye case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor.
Lena used to be a detective? Better have another talk with her.
Yes, you better do that. It will be wise. I'm done with you, child. Leave. I have places to be.
I regret being the ages 13 through 15. Yeah, I think most people do. I don't think anybody looks back at those times and is completely full of fond memories. There's a lot of embarrassment and a lot of mistakes.
Lena!
Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble.
Falsifying evidence? I didn't think you were the type.
Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we?
But Lena, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty.
Believe me, I understand the risks.
Lena, Emma told me about you.
Oh?
About how you were a detective 2 years ago. And how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. I ran out of breath.
That's right.
Could you fill me in on the details? Especially about the unusual change of jobs?
I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright.
Sad music.
A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today. Not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago.
Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much.
Literally saw the dude murder someone here.
I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be.
That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it?
Really pushing it now.
I believed in you, Lena. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth.
It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul.
Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department.
Tell me it's not true, Lena. What the victim, Miss Starr, said.
We've already established this.
About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lena, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us?
Emma, this doesn't involve just me.
I don't think I've ever seen Lena look so phased before.
Well, you've only seen her like twice, so...
It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago.
She was amazing.
She's suddenly happy again.
You still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together.
Chief Gant?
He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes.
I hope if anybody was in doubt of the fact that maybe I use a voice changer or not, the fact that I get the voices wrong sometimes and you hear me go like,
Damon Gant, he was everything I aspired to be.
They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed.
Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened?
I already planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was...
To gain experience investigating crime scenes, so you could use that experience in court, right?
Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office.
Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago.
yes, I will. Thank you for the advice, Phoenix.
2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark.
Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Damon Gant?
I don't know how it's pronounced.
Yes, Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations.
They even had the same office.
We led a team of the best detectives on the force.
Alright, so, okay, I get a feeling that's gonna be important. They shared the same office, right? So, if Joe was going into her office, in quotations, it's not guaranteed that he was going in there for her, right? He could have been going in there for, what's his face? Gant!
Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother, and was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place.
When he tried to murder Emma.
Prosecutor Marshall tried to save me from Dark.
You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me.
Now you tell us!
Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Drake that day.
Drake? Yeah, Drake just... Dark.
The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by...
Yeah, now, the fact that they're reinforcing it is obviously an indicator that he probably went in there for Gant, not her.
That's where he found me.
So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lena?
It appears so. I was filing some papers while
Gant?
while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark.
Oh. How did he get stabbed in the back? What the f...
When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood.
3 bodies?
Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had been passed out.
And the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seemed Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious.
What did you do?
To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her.
Can't blame her. After all, her sister had gone through.
After all her sister had gone through... That was 1 sentence, not 2.
After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest.
Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident.
That's right. Quite a coincidence, hmm?
I don't buy it.
What are you saying?
There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident. Just by chance.
But that case was solved 2 years ago.
At least one person went to the extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. It was the Yeehaw Man.
Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely.
I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark.
The...
Yeah!
Man. Or alternatively, the... Man.
Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories.
That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right?
Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared.
She loves bringing that up over and over and over again. Hey, Taro, how's it going, my friend?
The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself. The chief's office.
I'm doing pretty alright. How you doing, my friend?
Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office. The site of the final SL9 murder.
Yeah, so we'll go do that right now.
How do I get there? Here?
No one's here today. Not even Miss Star.
Everyone's everyone's probably busy looking into exactly what went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are.
But we proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15.
Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case.
Instead, it looks like we just ended up making Lena look even more guilty.
Hang in there, Lena.
Busy, aren't we all? I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow.
Hi, prosecutor's office. How do I get to the chief? Oh, I have to go here. Oh, there he is.
Howdy, Bambina.
Oh, Mr. Marshall.
I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera, sera. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck would run out when old Billy dried up this morning.
Is that your flask? Your flask?
Billy.
Must be his pet cactus. Oh no. Say, where are you headed?
Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner.
But Mr. Marshall, why did you do it?
Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one.
Oh, did you get a new job?
Ugh. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened?
Humph. Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so.
What do you mean, fishy?
Suka. I see.
Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon.
The murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip?
That was Joe Dark's. Alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised.
A question?
The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained.
What does that mean?
It means there's a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased.
The facts have been concealed with forged evidence?
Hey, Sid Cop, how's it going, my friend? I sound like a broken record when I greet people, and it's not my intention. It's just like... it's just like the first thing that pops to my head. How you doing, buddy?
That case left behind scars on all of us.
The scars that the SL9 incident left behind.
I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together.
How old was he, your brother?
He was 27 at the time. It was awarded the highest honor that very day.
The highest honor? You mean the...
King of Prosecutors.
I knew it.
What are you looking at me like that for? That's an award for a prosecutor.
Mr. Marshall must have been really close with his brother.
The day the SO9 incident took place, that wasn't the same days.
That's right. It was the day of the evidence transferal.
Interesting.
It was drizzling that morning. By nightfall, there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die.
Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty.
Logistics machine meant for storing sheets of metal and automatically feeding them to a laser. I mean, it sounds very important, is what it sounds like. It sounds like a very important device. You definitely don't want it fucking up. I can't remember. I was watching a video that described sort of the process of, like, you know, mechanical machinery that's made for, like, factory purposes. It's like, if something fucks up in the machine process, the machine doesn't fucking know for the most part. More often than not, it doesn't know when something's gone wrong, so it'll just keep fucking doing what it's doing. So it's like, yeah, you kind of want to make sure everything's nice and streamlined, and there's very low possibility for things fucking up. Very little margin for error, and if there is margin for error, then you can compensate for that error by throwing up a fucking error warning and shutting everything down.
There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later.
Just check for faults in electrical wiring. Ah.
Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room.
What about Detective Goodman?
They did something to him, too. The commissioners would get suspicious. Oh, they were careful enough to not be too obvious.
They?
Who are you talking about?
Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lena Skye. The investigation lead, Damon Gant, and his second-in-command, Lena Skye. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step up in both of our careers. After the case ended, Lena
After the case ended, Lena transferred to the prosecutor's office, right?
Yeah, Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective.
Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too.
Tell me, what happened to my sister?
Sorry, Bambina. Her secret is too well guarded. I never found out.
Lena's secret. It all started 2 years ago.
You have two programs on pretty much any machine. One is responsible for all the stuff going on in the machine, and the other is only for... yeah. That's good. That's good. It's good to prevent human death.
So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner?
I did.
It was certainly enlightening.
There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. Someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today.
I just spit out the top. Like that.
Too bad I won't be around to work with you. When you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina.
Oh, I'm gonna miss the Yeehaw man. Poor guy. I guess Yeehaw man wasn't murder. Murder was not performed by Yeehaw man.
This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted.
I mean, it looks the same as it always does.
That must mean everybody's busy solving crimes.
Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room.
Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us.
Without the chief prosecutor saying what she did and the decision about what to do. About Mr. Edgeworth. Not to mention our statement to the media and tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together!
I think festive is the word usually used for those.
Do I speak any specific dialect? No. I forget the word, but I think my accent is kind of, is it idiosyncratic? Is that the word I'm thinking of? I think that's the word. Vocabulary, don't let me down. Idiosyncratic, relating to idiosyncrasy. Particular or individual. Yeah, I've spent a lot of time talking to Americans, so I'm British, obviously, but certain aspects of my speech come across as a little more like Americanized than a normal British person would say it. So when I speak to people who live in my area, for example, they're like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "Here," and they just don't believe me because, yeah, it's strange, but it's kind of cool, I guess. It's kind of cool to have an accent that's kind of specific to you.
Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office.
Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor.
Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything.
Oh, well, fuck off then. Hey, you're right, you can't go in there, it's off limits!
Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go to the chief's office.
He just said we can't go there. Ah, fuck it. Just ignore him, I guess. Corrupting me? Pretty much. Well, I used to do like a really shitty American accent when I was younger, and it was so bad. And I can't even replicate it now. It's kind of like when you know how to ride a bike, it's kind of hard to ride a bike badly after that, if that makes sense. So when you get the hang of it, it's hard to do it wrong. You know? Whoa, where am I?
In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it says on the door.
Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it?
Hey, I used to take pipe organ lessons in
kindergarten?
They used to call me Little Miss Bach. I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes.
Ah.
I never could remember where C was.
It's a pretty important note. Here he is.
Oh, it's you two!
Chief Gant!
put that paper he was reading on his desk.
So, righto, have you been swimming lately?
No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately.
I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too, with Mr. Marshall's misconduct. And Lena's provocative statement.
Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence?
2 years have passed since that incident. Oh my, how time flies.
Yeah, I'm done talking to you. I'm sliding to the left.
See that big picture on the wall over there?
It's funny how you were learning when British accent is usually the one for... Yeah, I don't know. Well, I didn't have a... my British accent isn't like received pronunciation. Like most people when they think of British, they think of sort of well-spoken Queen's English, sort of. You know, we pronounce all of our words for the most part, and we don't drop any syllables. I'm going to go take a bath real quick. Would anybody like to go and join me in the bath for a quick dip? Whereas I'm just like, hey, you want to go in the bath for a dip?
That's a picture of Lena, Neil, and me.
So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall.
We took it to commemorate our work together.
Mountain is how I would say that. Mountain. Not mountain. Mountain. Mountain! You wanna go fucking climb that mountain? Mountain? You fucking get on our ass for dropping T's. You guys drop T's all the fucking time. You wanna go climb that mountain? Mountain? You wanna go climb that mountain? Mountain, yeah. That's how you say it. Mountain. Mountain. Something's not right with this picture. Can't quite seem to put my finger on it, though. Is it the sword that's missing from the prosecutor's thing? One of his notorious long pauses.
Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention.
You fucking muppet. What are you fucking doing? You fucking muppet.
I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together.
Oh, but this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. Okay, bye-bye.
Do you pronounce it color or color? That's a good one. Do you pronounce it humor or humor?
Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Look into my eyes. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend.
I pronounce it color. 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 Color? You have color and you have color. It's shocking how, like, similar my natural accent is to an American accent. Like, it's only a few little tweaks. Like, color, color, and color. 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 Like, they're not that far apart.
Looks like we aren't welcome.
Seems that case isn't over with yet. Seems that case isn't over with yet after all.
What do you mean?
Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there.
You mean like a clue?
There's gotta be a way we can get inside the chief's office. Scale the fucking building. Jump in through a window. How else could we possibly get in there?
Hey, pal!
Detective Gumshoe! Aren't you supposed to be in a meeting?
I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt.
From sitting so long?
Actually, from serving everyone coffee.
Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop.
Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth?
Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask?
He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battle's between you two in court.
That sounds serious.
Is it because of what my sister said?
Hard R. Hard R. With one exception.
That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood.
Yikes. Bruh. Bruh. That's fucking it. That's a yikes for me, bruh.
Why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged.
Bruh.
Bruh.
Bruh. Bruh. Can you guess the voices?
Bruh.
Bruh.
Lena Sky is the guilty party here, isn't she?
Regardless, a prosecutor's responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, they've been getting a lot of rumors. There's been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth.
Well, I try, like, they're not that far apart in terms of, like, vocal range. Like, say, like, Edgeworth and, Marshall, they're practically the same, like...
Marshall's sorta in the same range. He's kinda like this. And then Edgeworth is basically in the same sort of range. If I went down a little, Marshall's down here,
And Edgeworth is here, you know? There's, like, a little bit of a difference. And the accent obviously helps differentiate it as well.
his amazing talent as a prosecutor kept him safe from those who don't like him.
And Gumshoe obviously has a bit of grizzle to his voice, which is the bane of my fucking throat, but it helps distinguish him more. Ugh.
But now, with this,
Are there really so many people who hate him?
in our world, only those with talent rise to the top.
Why is he southern?
Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know for making enemies.
Hey, Dick! Keep up the good work!
Yes, sir!
Let's go out for lunch again sometime, my treat!
Yes, sir!
You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick?
Yes, sir!
Seems you don't have any problems with enemies.
Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Like a fucking egg.
It's the most kind and angry. Yeah, it can go back and forth really, really easily. Listen, I'm just trying to be nice and kind here. I don't wanna come off as mean or anything like that. But then I get a little slower and I start to sound like maybe I wanna stab you in the stomach, you know what I'm saying?
Actually, I took a look at the file earlier, while the coffee was brewing.
He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth.
Well, did you find out anything?
The only evidence Dark left behind was during his final attack.
His final attack? You mean? I feel like when I'm not trying to impersonate a cowboy, it comes off as a little more natural. But when I do the cowboy, I'm like subconsciously like, oh god, it's gonna be good.
It's gotta be a good cowboy accent. Talking about rustling cattle and such. When he killed Prosecutor Marshall, he was trying to protect some girl.
Me. It was me.
Seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl.
That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all.
Well, what was it?
Oh, well, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forgot. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, alright?
His powers of recollection never fail to impress.
Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory.
Sure. Let's do that. Show him the blood. About this.
Hey, is that?
It has a tag attached to it, with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. Why is he breathing through his mouth like that? Take a minute, buddy. You don't need to breathe so quick.
What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker.
On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. It was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler.
That's it! Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me.
Well, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again.
Tell us. Quick, quick!
It's not. Oh.
This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it?
That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at. Plus, it had his fingerprints on it, too.
But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right?
That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at that knife, you'll see it's broken.
Alright, Tara, thanks for dropping in, my friend. Appreciate it. Have a good shower.
You don't have to take a good look to notice that.
Yeah, well, anyway. Take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found.
I don't know.
Where was it?
The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab
In his ass. I was gonna make a joke like that, and I just thought, nah, I'll pass for once. I'll pass. Did it match Dark's knife?
Yeah, you bet. Down to the last fiber.
That's pretty conclusive.
Unless it was like fucking Von Karma and he was just holding a piece of a knife inside of him for many years.
Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just a run-of-the-mill businessman.
A businessman? What made him take to serial killing?
One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car.
With his car? So, it was an accident?
An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal.
An animal?
He killed a man that witnessed the accident, and he killed a lady who saw it, something blah blah blah.
Well, they're skipping the dialogue, so I can't really do much to keep up.
A jogger came upon the scene and was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence.
Really? He killed, like, what, 4 people in quick succession and there was no evidence?
So he turned himself in? Yeah, but in the middle of questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Dark was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed.
That last witness, aka Emma.
Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know.
Can I ask you one more thing?
What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gant.
It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered.
The chief's out now and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around if that's okay.
Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door.
What? Really?
But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust.
Breach of trust?
Simply put, I'd be canned.
Oh.
Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you.
How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's.
That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died.
He went southern there a bit for a second again.
Oh.
So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office.
I wonder if there's something we could show him that would change his mind.
Is there? What about picture? Look at this. Look at this picture, isn't it beautiful? Yeah, he doesn't give a shit. The mascot? Share the mascot. This guy almost made us lose the case today.
What are you talking about? He was guarding the bloodstain on that evidence locker with his life. That's more than you could say about most officers nowadays.
It would have saved us a lot of trouble if he hadn't guarded it so well.
I have to admit, he's right though. Thanks to the Blue Badger, we were able to prove another possibility today. The possibility that another murder took place prior to 5:15 p.m. It has to be something new, right? What about this? No, he doesn't give a shit. What about this?
Oh, a lost item report, huh?
Very impressive, Detective. You knew what it was right off the bat.
Well, I am a master of misplacement, you know.
Master? It has such a cool ring to it.
The way I see it, if things are meant to be lost, then they're meant to be lost. There's a higher power at work here.
Well, maybe you're just a clumsy fuck who misplaces his objects.
Oh, a higher power.
She writes down, does God exist? Question mark. Maybe I shouldn't let Emma hold any evidence. What do I show him?
I've been studying up on these files. There's nothing wrong with Mr. Edgeworth's presentation. I think people are accusing him of injustice. I, for one, ain't buying it, pal.
You're looking into the case for Mr. Edgeworth?
Yeah, it was a pretty big deal when I was going at it.
When it was going on. When I was going at it. Where did that come from?
While I was going at it, you know, just pumping away. After all, a serial killer was on the loose. Elena was pretty clear in her confession. She forged evidence in order to prove Joe Dark guilty. So I started going at it, you see?
Oh, fuck. What can I fucking show him?
You know Officer Marshall?
Of course I do. He was like a mentor to me. When I first started out, he even gave me a small cactus.
That's funny, because you look older than him, to be honest.
Really?
He said, Dick, she'll listen to all your troubles.
Note to self, Detective Gumshoe talks to a cactus.
Hard to believe he's just a patrolman now. Someone ought to trade places with him. What? Why are you looking at me like that?
Ish?
About that jar. I think I've seen it before somewhere. Somewhere?
Oh, is it in his office?
Or maybe it's one of those memories people have from previous lives.
This must be the most uninformative detective I've ever met.
Something about it makes me feel uneasy. It's like I'm in the chief's office and he's yelling at me.
Chief Gant?
Where could I have seen that before?
Maybe in the exact place you just said. But we can't prove it, so fuck. Fuck! Maybe I can't talk to him about it. I've gotta present him with something. This?
Hey, that's it! That's the King of Prosecutors Award that Mr. Edgeworth got the other day.
Were you at the awards ceremony, Detective? Yeah, we've already done this.
I got an award for diligence, blah 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 blah.
Oops. I remember what he said. We've already talked to him about most of this evidence. What about this?
Hey, I just bought some of that stuff. Now I can go around detecting blood traces too.
Wow, is that a new type? I've never seen that bottle before. Add 3 inches to your base height.
What? Base height? Hey, let me see that. Looming tall. New and improved growth formula?
You mean this can't detect any blood traces?
Well, it's not quite the same thing as luminol.
So that's why the lady at the counter had that smirk on her face.
Yeah, I don't think you could buy luminol fluid at a fucking like corner shop. You got dick growing cream? Show him this.
That's the ID card record, isn't it?
He's gonna tell us who 777 is, right?
Yes, there's only one number left to investigate. At 4:20 p.m. The victim, Detective Goodman, must have entered the evidence room along with someone else. Someone with an executive office number.
Officer.
7777777. That's 17 too many, Detective. An executive officer, I might just have a hunch.
But that wasn't enough, apparently. What else can I show him?
No locker can be opened without a fingerprint match. Besides, there's no reason for the murderer to touch his own locker.
Hey, wasn't your locker the one with the blood on it, Detective?
The handprint of the real murderer's gloved hand, without any fingerprints. Shh! They come to arrest me, you'll defend me, won't you?
If that happens, I think you'll be better pleading with Edgeworth. Fuck, I genuinely don't know what to do. What do I show him? Maybe it's something I don't have yet. But in any case, I think I'm gonna end it here. For dramatic effect. Holy shit, that was a long time ago we saved, wasn't it? A fucking hour ago, almost exactly an hour ago was the last time we saved. I suppose you don't really need to unless you're in court. Not much point. The game isn't prone to crashing or anything like that, so we're pretty... we're Gucci. Yeah, the big gooch. Let's see if anyone's streaming. Live channels we think you'll like. Ooh, someone that I unfollowed yesterday. Yeah, I'm sure I'll like them. Thanks, Twitch. You're so fucking helpful. Why would they recommend someone that I unfollowed? I mean, fucking seriously. And especially Pog stream. What the fuck is that? Man, I'm not good at picking out good quality streams, you know? Every time I go to raid someone, I just end up clicking not interested like 700 times. In the recommended tab. I'll just leave it for today. And I'll thank you guys for stopping by and chatting with me. And hopefully having a good time. I had a good time. I hope you did too. And tomorrow is Thursday. Let me just check my calendar. Not to know if it's Thursday, but see if I'm doing anything on Thursday. No. Okay, so I should be streaming at around about the same time tomorrow. As always, I try to fit things... If I have to schedule something, I'll fit it around the stream usually. So yeah. Probably see you guys tomorrow. And we'll, figure out if Mr. Gant did the murder. Okay, bye. Love you, bye.